All right, welcome everybody. I hope you are as excited as I am to see the suite that I am showing you. As you all know, tomorrow we can start ordering from the new catalog. So I hope you guys have all marked up your catalog with all of your wish lists and you're ready to go tomorrow. So anyway, just keep checking back. I'm not sure exactly when it's going to go live. Usually it's in the morning, but I have been hearing that it may not be until noon that they have it up and running. So just be patient as they get that going. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Julie Brown. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I've been doing this for just over 5 years. I usually hold card classes, but of course with COVID-19, haven't been able to do that. So I've been doing online classes and lately just trying to show you guys all of the new product that's coming out in the new catalog because I am so excited about it. So let me just do some housekeeping just so everybody has the information. So for those of you that are planning on placing an order immediately, here is my hostess code for June. This is the new updated code. If you are part of my monthly group, you do need to use that code when you're placing an order. Even if you're placing an order over $150, you still need to use that code. For those people who are not part of my monthly group that would like to place an order with me and it's over $150, then do not use that hostess code because you'll get your own rewards. Hey Mel, so glad to see you here. My ordering information is juliebrown.stampinup.net. And again, I always encourage you guys, check out my Pinterest page where I post a lot of the cards that I make and my blog where I have step-by-step instructions on how to make the cards that I'm showing you. And so what I'm going to be using tonight, so let me just switch this. So we are using the Forever Greenery Suite. And that is the item number. Again, I'm posting item numbers just in case you guys want to order or put this on your wish list. So I'm gonna very quickly go over what is in this suite, just so that you guys have a look at everything that you get with this suite. So let's take a look. I'm gonna leave that. So there's the suite number again. Okay, so it comes with this really neat stamp set, and this is a distinctive stamp set, and you guys know I love distinctive stamp sets because when you stamp them, they're gorgeous. They're just absolutely beautiful. So it comes with this. It comes with one of the first new, these are the, I'm going to call them mini embossing folders. They're about half the size of what we normally use, but wait till you see these in action. And then it also comes with the dies, and I cannot say enough about these dies. There are standalone dies, which are this, like this one, this one, this one, this one, these little ones here, this one, and this one. And then you have the frame dies that actually cut out the things that you are stamping. So this is just a phenomenal die set. It's unbelievable. And you'll see that tonight with the cards that I'm making. It also has these golden hoops, which we are using tonight. Yay! And then it has this, it's almost like a mesh ribbon. And this is very vanilla. Let me see if I can get it close enough so you can see. And then it comes with this golden, like a twine as well. And then the paper is absolutely beautiful. And then it comes with laser cut dies, and I'm going to show you what I did with mine because it comes in a big square. I went ahead and I got mine out of that and I put it in one of the boxes. So you can see that I basically went through and just kind of separated all of the different laser cut pieces. And we're going to be using these tonight, but this is part of it. And these are just so pretty. But I just went ahead and I got myself some, it had some of this paper in it, but then I went ahead and used some other tracing paper that I had just to separate all the pieces so it's easier for me to get to. And then you guys are always hearing me talk about love it, chop it, and I've already done that. So I have gone through one of my papers And I've just gone through and I've just chopped it all up and gotten it ready to make cards with it. So I am ready to go to work with this. All right, so this is everything. So these laser cut come with it as well. And like I said, I put that in the box just so it's easier for me. But it comes in a bigger piece of, oh, I don't even know how to say it, but anyway, it's about this bit, you know, it's about the size of the a little bit smaller than the 12 by 12 paper, and then you have to pull all the pieces out. So I did that and got it ready so we can play with it. Yay! All right, so I have a couple of announcements. Hey, Susie. So again, this is the Forever Greenery Suite. So I want to just post up here really quick so you guys can see everything that comes in this suite, because I know everybody gets confused. You can order the whole suite and you would put in this number. Or, hey Brenda, or you can order things individually. Hey Carol, so glad you guys are here. So this is kind of everything that is included in the suite, which it's the Forever Fern Bundle, which comes with the bundle is the stamp set and the dies. And then it has the embossing folders that I just showed you. The DSP means designer series paper. For those of you that are new with Stampin' Up, you hear us say that a lot as demonstrators. So anytime you see DSP, we're talking about designer series paper. And then it comes with that Forever Gold laser cut specialty paper, which I just showed you how I've already basically punched all those out and I have it in a case ready to go. And then the trim combo pack is the 2 ribbons and then the gold hoop embellishments. And we're going to be using, I'm pretty sure, every piece of this tonight in the 3 cards that I am doing. And so let me get off of this and get back over here. Okay, so this is kind of everything in the suite. So let me move everything out of the way so we can start playing. Are you so excited? I am. So I'm going to kind of do a new thing. In the past, I always make you wait to see the cards, but I actually make the cards ahead of time and then I remake them for you. So I'm actually going to show you the cards that we're making tonight ahead of time so you guys can get excited. All right. So let me just kind of show you. All right, so let's see. So this will be one of the cards that we're making tonight. So that's one. And then we're going to make this one. And you can see I'm using all of the elements. And I don't know if you can tell, but this is one of those laser cut gold elements on the back of this. All right. And then we're going to do this one. This one, there was a lot of stamping and cutting out, but I did a lot of this ahead of time so that you guys aren't completely bored watching me do all of this. All right, so the first one that we're going to start with is this one here. And so let me bring in all the pieces that we need to put this together. See if I've got that right. Okay, so I used a oh, and let me tell you the colors that go with this. So all of the colors that coordinate with this. Oh, am I cutting out? Is it getting any better? I kind of had something running in the background and I was hoping it wasn't going to affect it, but I think it is. Shoot. So let me know. Is it still cutting out pretty bad, guys? Well, I'm going to keep going and let me know if it gets really bad, because I can restart this. Okay, I'm not showing it cutting out on my end, so I apologize. But anyway, so it's the colors that go along with this suite are Garden Green, Pear Pizzazz, Just Jade, Pretty Peacock, Shaded Spruce, and Soft Seafoam. So those are all of the colors that we're going to be using. And of course, this one is the Garden Green, is the card base, and that is at 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And it might be that I'm moving too fast, so I'll try to move a little slower because sometimes that's what causes the problem. And then you're going to need 2 basic blacks that are 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then you're going to need 1 piece of Designer Series paper. And this is 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. That's so funny because I'm watching it on mine and I'm not seeing it cutting out. I have my Facebook running and it's not doing it on my end. And then we need 2 Whisper White pieces that are 4 by 5 1/4. And you're going to need another Whisper White that is 2 1/2 by 2 1/2. And then I believe this one was 3 by 3 before I cut out the circle. So basically for this, you probably need a, let's see, I'm gonna say 3 1/2 by 4 1/2 just to be safe. And this is Pretty Peacock. So can someone let me know, is it still cutting out for you guys? Well, I hope it quits cutting out. I'm sorry. You guys may have to come back and re-watch this. I apologize. All right, so let's get started with this one. So the first thing that we're going to do, I did bring in one of the other stamp sets, and it's this Tasteful Touches. Okay, good, Mel. I'm glad it's better for you. And I just used some Memento black ink. And I stamped this as much in the center as I possibly could. So I'm just going to center that. And then I cut this out with the stitched shapes dies. Yeah, not only have I had problems with my internet, but because they're doing road construction, my power has been really bad in and out. So it's been a little crazy over here at my house. So let me bring in the Big Shot. And like I said, I cut most of the stuff out ahead of time, but I wanted to show you guys that I did use a different stamp set for that. All right, so I'm going to bring in the stitch shapes and bring in, I think it's this, yeah. So it's the 1, 2, third one down. And I'm just going to kind of center that on there. And run that through. And then while I'm doing this, Mel had a question on the, she had texted me earlier and she had a question on the 3D embossing folder. So I want to show you guys something while I've got the die set here, or the die cutting machine here. So for those of us that have the Big Shot and we bought the 3D embossing folder, embossing plate, so how do you use it? Well, I want to show you guys something because I think this is what messes everybody up. I have 2 plates that I use. I have my magnetic plate and I have the Big Shot platform. So I'm going to move this out of the way for just a second because I want to show you guys something, because I think this is where most people end up having a problem. So if you'll notice, when you put these two together, the magnetic one, and I don't know if you guys can see it because it's so minute, but there is a slight difference in the thickness. The magnetic plate is thicker than the Big Shot platform. So when you're using the 3D embossing plate, it has to be on the Big Shot platform, not the magnetic platform, because it's too tight. With even though I'm telling you, it's probably maybe 1/8 to 1/16 of an inch difference, but it makes a difference in that. So I apologize for pausing, but anytime someone asks me a question, I do try to help with that. So what you do is you set your Big Shot platform, not your magnetic plate. And then let me see if I can find, okay, this is one of our new 3D embossing folders. Then what you do is you don't put a plate down. You put your 3D embossing folder with the paper in here. And then you put the 3D embossing folder on top, and then you just run that through. And it really shouldn't be like horribly tight when you do it. It should be snug, but if you're really having to crank to get it through, then it's probably not working correctly. The other thing that anytime you're putting embossing folders through, you want to make sure that you always put this folded in. That's the first in that needs to go through. Okay, so Mel, did that answer your question? I hope that answered your question and helps you with dealing with that. So make sure that you're always using the Big Shot platform, not the magnetic plate, when you're trying to put embossing folders through. Hope that helped. All right, let me move all this. Sorry. And just so you guys know, I did use the layering circle dies to cut out this circle. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do, because it needs to take a little time to dry, is I'm going to bring in my, oh, what did I do with it? I'm going to use a hoop on this one. Whoops. And I just scattered them all over the place. All right. Okay, so I am going to put the hoop on here, and I want it to be kind of centered. So basically, the way I did it is I actually used my Tombow glue, and I just put little dots. If my glue decides to work tonight. So I just kind of put periodically little dots around. Then what I did is I just carefully kind of set that down where I wanted it. And it's okay if you can see the white glue, because it will clear. It will dry clear. All right. And then what I did was I'll take a block or something heavy. So maybe even, let me see if this is, nope, that won't, yeah, if I do it this way. So like I'll bring in a punch, and I'm gonna set that off to the side, and then I'm gonna set that punch on top of it just to kind of put some weight down on it while it dries. So I'm gonna let that sit there while we design the front of the card. All right, so to design the front of the card, we've got our card base, and then I'm just going to come in with my 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 basic black. And using the Snell adhesive, which this is going to be new. It's no longer called Snell adhesive. There is new adhesive coming out, which is supposed to be better. And so I'm excited about that. Oh, I just can't wait for tomorrow. I've already got my wish list, and I'm ready to like go. Ready to shop. All right. Then what I'm going to do That's for the inside. And then I'm also going to put one on the front of the card. So one goes on the inside and one goes on the front of the card. So let's try to get that on there. Okay, so now we're still messing with the front of the card. So I'm going to bring in this strip of the Designer Series paper. Oh, okay, Mel, I see what you were doing. You know what? I will play with that and I will get back with you. So Mel was actually using the old platforms that came originally with the Big Shots. And so I'll play with that because I have actually done it on there, so I know it works. So I'll play with those flaps. I should have actually asked you, and then I will let you know how to do that. If I have time tonight, I may pull it out and we'll practice. Okay, so then I'm going to take that strip and I'm going to, again, just add adhesive. Look how pretty the other side of that paper is. Beautiful. I haven't used that old platform in a long time. And then again, I'm just going to put this on here as if I had a 4 by 5 1/4 piece. So that's what it looks like so far. Okay, so then I'm going to come in with one of my 4 by 5 1/4 Whisper White pieces, and I'm going to bring in the Big Shot, and we're going to actually run this through one of the embossing folders. And just for reference, anytime I'm doing embossing folders, I use the regular platform. And unfortunately, the embossing folders I'm using tonight are not 3D, or I could have run and grabbed my other one and tried to figure this out right now. So because it's a regular embossing folder, you're going to need a plate on the bottom. And then, there's 2 embossing folders in this set. There's one that looks like this. Can you see that? There you go. And then there's one that looks like this. And this is the one that we're using. So I basically am just sticking this in here. And I wanted to get like the top and the bottom kind of the same area. So when I placed it on here, I made sure that I was leaving the same amount of distance from the top and the bottom. And then I'm just going to close that and set that in there. Hopefully that didn't move too. Oh, I think it did move. Whoops. Okay. That moved a little bit, sorry. All right, so let's stick that back in there. And I did make one side flush and the other side is kind of hanging out. So now I'm just going to run this through. And again, this is not a 3D embossing folder, so I used both the plates on that. Let me move this out of the way. And then what you end up having is this beautiful embossed image. Isn't that gorgeous? I don't need this whole thing, so I'm actually going to bring in my cutter and we're going to cut this down to about 2 inches. So obviously I'm going to cut so that the side that didn't emboss, I'm cutting that off, but it's also going to leave me a little strip that I will be able to use later on another card. So I'm going to cut that down to 2 inches so it looks like this. And then, like I said, I'm going to still have this area. So I can either cut this or I can leave this and then layer some paper up to where it's embossed, so that I can use that later. All right, so what I'm going to do then is, again, I'm going to put my Snell adhesive on here. So you guys are is anyone else as excited as I am that we get to start shopping tomorrow? I'm so excited. I just can't even figure out what to order first, because I just can't believe how much stuff I love, absolutely love, that's in this set. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of layer that. It's not quite going straight. Let me figure out what's going on here. All right, there we go. So that I'm just leaving a little bit right there. All right, so then there's that piece. And then what I'm going to do is, and if you guys missed this, these are the gold laser cut papers that come with this. And I went ahead and punched them all out and stuck them in one of these cases. So they're all here, and I can just go through and pull out the ones that I want to play with. So let me find the ones that we're gonna play with here. And I just put tissue paper or, so I want 2 of these. I just put tracing paper and the tissue paper that was in the package that it came in. So basically, I am going to put this on here, and I want to put these on first before I put on my circle. And then you do have to kind of watch, because sometimes the little laser cuts, kind of like a die cut, not all the pieces pop out. So you do want to, and this is what I'm using. This is one of those laser cut, and it's golden shimmery. Ah, pretty, huh? All right, so I'm gonna bring in my glue dots. I'm gonna be using a lot of glue dots tonight, guys. Tons and tons of glue dots. All right, so this one is gonna kind of be off to where it kind of overlays onto the designer series paper a little bit. And then this other one, I'm going to stick, and I'm going to try to get this one to where it actually stays on the white piece. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the gold trim. And I keep a little piece of tape on the end of each of the end of this piece, just because it does fray when you cut it. And I'll show you what I'm talking about in just so as soon as you cut it, it starts to kind of fray on the end. So I kind of want to do like a circle. I want a couple of circles. So I want a shorter circle and then a little bit bigger circle. So I'm just going to kind of go like that and then cut this. And that gave me some room to play with this a little bit. So when I'm making my circles, I always have to kind of lay it like where I want it. And then make my circles so that one's just a little bit bigger than the other one. That's a lot bigger. Okay, so then I'm going to bring in a glue dot, and I'm going to use my tweezers here. And I'm going to kind of measure where I want that to stick out. And I'm going to stick my glue dot there. And then I'm just going to stick that on right there with a glue dot. If you're not comfortable and you don't think that one glue dot is going to do it, then you can certainly pick this up a little bit and stick another glue dot there and get more of that thread. And I totally missed the glue dot. Okay, and then I'm gonna trim that. All right, so that's pretty much how that's going to look. And the other nice thing is that once you have that laid down again, so let me see if I can get the glue dot in the right place, because I want this to be a little bit higher and I don't want it to hang off the page. I'm going to stick another glue dot up there, And then I'm going to finagle this so that it sticks up into that glue dot as well. And then that holds it in the position that I want it to be in. Make sense? All right. So I believe this has dried enough. So I'm going to bring in this little piece again. And then what I did is I just used my liquid glue and put glue on the back. And stuck that down in the center of this. Oh, and I forgot. You want to put this towards the top. So you don't want to center it. You want this pushed up as high as you can against this gold loop. Gold hoop, I guess they're calling it. Then I'm going to come in with this, and I'll put this on when I get this on the page, because I'm going to pop this up. So I'm going to use dimensionals. Oh my gosh, it just drives me crazy that I lose my dimensionals. I know where, oh, here they are. I know where they are when I start, and then I always end up losing them. All right, so I'm just gonna put 4 dimensionals on the back of this. And then we're gonna pop this piece up. And we're going to be placing this on here so that it covers all of those glue dots that we put down, right? So you want to get this placed so that it covers your glue dots here and your glue dots down there. All right, then what I'm going to do again is I'm going to come in with my Tombow glue. And this time I actually put it directly onto this little piece that I cut out. And so I tried, when I did this, I tried to just keep it kind of in a line. I don't know if you guys can see that. But I just tried to follow basically what the stem would be. And then I'm going to turn that over, and I'm going to lay that right at the bottom of that hoop so that it frames that. And again, this one is going to take a little bit of time to dry because we are gluing to something that is metal. All right. And then for the inside, while this is drying, let me set this off to the side. So for the inside, now you're going to get to see these beautiful distinctive stamps. So I pulled in my Pretty Peacock ink. Here we go. Oh, so let me show you this. So what I'm talking about is it frays, and I'm not going to mess with it just yet. So can you guys see how it's fraying? So I keep tape around the tip of that so it doesn't just keep unwinding, but I'm going to be using this again, so I'm not going to tape it just yet. I will tape it when I'm done with what I'm doing. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our stamp set, and I'm going to be using this stamp right here. And we're going to ink that up with Pretty Peacock. And then I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of paper since I'm going to be stamping off. And I just took this and I just kind of put it in this corner down here. And then stamp that on. And I want to bring this closer. These distinctive stamps are just, isn't that beautiful? Who knew I would be in love with leaves so much? Beautiful. Love it, love it, love it. All right, let me find what I did with my cleaner. So then I'm going to clean that off. So Brenda, you have your wish list. I know, it's like, oh my gosh. I actually had to go through on my wish list. So I made a wish list, and then I went through and I had to say, okay, these are the ones that I am in love with. And so I put a little asterisk, and then I put a little check mark next to the ones that I like. And then I put a check mark with an X for the ones that are between liking and the ones that I absolutely have to have. So you should see my list. It's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. Okay, so now for the sentiment on the inside, we are going to put this to a friend. It says to a friend that makes me smile. And we're going to do black memento ink. I know, right, Mel? These distinctive stamps are just, I mean, you can just stamp with them and they're just beautiful. And if you guys don't know, every stamp set, it'll have a little round symbol that says distinctive. So if you're looking for distinctive stamp sets in the new catalog, you will be able to find them. All right, so let's see if I can get this centered right. Not bad. So then I'm just gonna put that in there. I keep burying my cleaner. Let me just clean this off. And stick that back in here so I don't lose any of my stamps. And then move this off to the side. And then, actually I'll leave that there because I've got some glue down there. So then I'm just going to take and do my adhesive and stick this on the inside of this card. And again, I had already put the black in there earlier. All right, so there's the finished card. What do you guys think? So Brenda, just so you know, the die cutting and embossing machine are not going to be available tomorrow. Sorry. Yeah. But yeah, so that I don't know, they're supposed to be letting us know as soon as it's available, but it is not available tomorrow for ordering. But there's the front of this card and there's the inside. Do you love it? Let me know. You can send me hearts and likes. Okay. So now let's do our next one. The next one is kind of, it looks complicated, but it's not. So this is our next card that we're doing. And so this one, I'm using the new in color for the card base. So this is that new Just Jade. And again, almost all of my cards are going to be 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. So this is the card base. And then you're going to need one Whisper White that is 4 by 5 1/4. And then Garden Green, a piece of Garden Green that is 2.5 by 2.5. And then I already ran this through the embossing folder to save time, but that's the other embossing folder that's in that packet. Isn't that pretty? Love it. And this piece was 1 by 4 1/4. So I'm sorry I'm not going to show you how to emboss it, but it's the other one. So the one we just did was the partner to this one. And then we're going to need a little scrap Whisper White that is 1 1/4 by 3 1/2. And then we're going to use the Designer Series paper, again, just a strip. And this is going to be 3/4 by 5 1/2. And then this is one of those laser cut die pieces. Can you see how shiny it is? Pretty. Whoop, whoop. And then I just wanted to show you, because I did this all pre-class because I didn't want to spend so much time cutting out stuff this time. So this is actually one piece, and I cut it down, but it cuts out as one piece, but I used some vellum to cut this out. And then these were stamped, and then using the dies to cut those out. Pretty, huh? All right, so let's put this card together. Okay, so we're gonna start on the card front Wait till you see how fast this one goes together. It actually goes together really fast. So I'm going to take that Designer Series paper strip and again ink it up, or snail it up, I guess. I'm going to have to get used to not saying snail adhesive because the new adhesive is not called snail adhesive. And I am going to, and sometimes it's better if you're putting it on the edge to go ahead and close the card. And so I am going to get that lined up. And that's going to go down. Then what we're going to do is we're going to use glue dots to put this in place. And I'm going to put all the glue dots in the middle because I'm going to cover it with this 2.5 by 2.5 inch strip. And let me show you kind of how I did this, because you can actually get two pieces done at the same time. So I kind of looked at where I was going to place this, and I looked at where I wanted this piece right here. Then once I got it centered where I wanted it, and I just want to show you this, it's easy to line up. So see how at the bottom of the tips, so I lined it up there, and then over here I lined it up with the tip of the little tiny, can you see the little tiny ones right there? So that's kind of how I lined it up, just so you know. And then I'm going to turn that over, and I think it moved a little bit. And so what I did is I came in with my glue dots, and I just kind of stuck them on the back of this. And what it's doing is it's actually grabbing that garden green piece as well. So you're kind of killing two birds with one stone here. So you're adhering it to the garden green piece as you do this. And then once I have that on there, I can just flip it over and line it up where I want it here and lay it down, and that's gonna stick. Ta-da! Yay! I like things that make my life easy. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in, and again, I'm going to, oh shoot, I needed to do one thing first, sorry. Just because I wanted to let you guys know this. So this other ribbon that's in here, it's kind of like a gauze. It takes quite a bit of time to dry, and so I need to actually go ahead and bring in this sheet, and I'm gonna go ahead, and I believe I used the Shaded Spruce marker. So I believe it was this blend marker. And because, like I said, because it's almost like it's a material, and for some reason I noticed that this takes a little bit longer to dry. And because of the material that this is, you also want to color both sides, just so you know. So on most of the ribbon that I've ever colored, especially the satin ribbon, you really only have to color one side. But when it's kind of like this material, more material-like ribbon, you're gonna want to do both sides. All right, so let me flip that, and we're gonna color this side, and then I am going to set this aside, and I may have to come back and do this bow at the very end because it does take some time to dry, like I said, because of the material that this ribbon is. Not a big deal, it just takes a little bit longer than what we're used to. I'm going to do this again for the other card. So I'm just going to snip that right there, and I'm just going to set this off to the side and let that dry. I'm glad I remembered that, or we may not have had a bow. All right, so now dun, 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 I can bring this back in. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I kind of measured this on here, and I don't need this little strip that's on, and this, remember, this was all one piece, but I'm going to kind of piece this together. So basically what I'm going to do, again, I told you I'm using lots of glue dots tonight. So basically I'm just going to stick this right in the center. And realize you don't need a lot of glue dots for the stuff that's behind. And the reason being is I'm going to be using glue to put the stuff down that's on top. So it's going to end up holding everything down. I'm just trying to get everything positioned the way I want it with the glue dots. So then this bottom piece, I'm actually going to, because when I trimmed it, I had to trim some of these leaves. So they kind of lost their shape. So I'm just going to kind of reshape a couple of the leaves. And then I'm going to, again, cut this stem off right here and this stem off right there. And I'm going to be coming in with what? Does anyone know? That's right, glue dots once again. And this one I'm just going to kind of put over here. So I'm going to stick my glue dot here. And stick that on there so that it comes up like that. Now that I'm thinking of it, I think I don't have this one sticking out far enough over here, but oh well, we'll go with it. All right, so then I'm gonna come in with this other glue dot, and I am kind of putting it underneath because I wanna make sure it is going to be covered by the flower, the other cutouts that are going on this. So then that's going to just kind of fit right there. All right. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my pieces here, and I'm just going to place these on here so that they cover the glue dots. That's actually what I'm just trying to accomplish here. All right. So I'm just going to bring this one in here, and it's going to lay over those. And like I said, because that has glue on it, it's going to help hold those in place. That's why, again, you don't have to be overzealous about the glue dots. Now, I wanted this to kind of stick out more over here, so let me show you how to fix that. Glue dot, who knew? Gonna stick that on there. If my tweezers will let go. And then I'm just going to kind of bend this so that it sticks out more over here, because that's kind of where I need it. There. And then I'm going to bring in my Tombow glue and glue this on. Stick that on there. And then again, my bow's going to go right here, but it's drying. So then I'm going to come in with this piece here that I did the embossing on, and it's going to go across here. I like to use liquid glue when I have embossing pieces, just because the embossing pieces have a lot of like valleys and hills on the back of it. And I find that the liquid glue works a little bit better, for me anyway. So I'm going to try to center that. Oops. Maybe. And I think I did cut this a little bit big. Not too bad. But then I'm going to trim that. All right. And then I'm going to come in. And is this the one that says yes? So then I'm going to use this "You Can Do This" little stamp sentiment that's in that stamp set. We're going to come in with our Memento black ink. So if I was making a lot of these cards, obviously I would color that ribbon ahead of time. That way, when you're ready to put it all together, the ribbon's ready. And then I'm just going to stamp this. I don't have to be real careful just yet because I'm going to be fussy cutting around it. Can you guys believe how much I've been fussy cutting lately? I'm surprising myself. As much as I hate cutting out, I still do it. So then this piece, I'm just going to fussy cut around the words. And the way I do it, again, it's my left hand that I'm actually moving the paper with. and I'm just like cutting with my right hand. And when I do this type of fussy cutting around words, I'm just basically kind of following the letters. So where there's an indentation, I go down, and then, yeah. And I know most of you probably already know how to do the fussy cutting, so, but that's just how I do it to make my life a little bit easier. It's not really that hard. I just don't like to cut. I'm a big baby. What can I say? And so again, I didn't want to pop this one up. I thought about it, but I kind of felt like it already had enough dimension with the embossed piece that this is going to go on top of. So I just used my liquid glue, and then I came in here and I'm going to stick that right there. And so let's do the inside of the card while we're waiting for that ribbon to dry. And for the inside, I used, whoops, sorry. Oh, and this, I'm sorry, these leaves were done in the soft sea foam. I forgot to tell you the color, huh? So, and I did want to point this out too. These two leaves, these two little small leaves, the die set, you see how they're angled differently? The die set has both dies, one for each of these leaves. So that's a really cool that we've got both of those dies for those two leaves. A lot of times we don't see the designing with the leaves where they're like angled at a different angle, but they did it this time. Okay, so this time I'm just going in and I'm going to be stamping off. So let me bring in this piece and turn that over so I'm not on that. And so I'm just going to come in and I'm going to kind of go a little off to the right with the first one. And then the second one, I'm just going to come in at the bottom down there. So again, let me bring that closer. Look how pretty. I love distinctive stamps. And I've got to tell you, that's probably what won me over on this. Even though green is like one of my favorite colors, I just wasn't really sure what I was going to do with a bunch of leaves. But when I started stamping these leaves and they're distinctive, I just, oh my gosh, fell in love. One more thing I had to add to my wish list, right? Like I needed another thing on my wish list. Okay, so on this one, I think I brought in, yes. So I brought in this again, you guys are seeing me use this one a lot, the Peaceful Moments sentiment stamp set. I wanted to use the Thinking of You with all of my heart. And if you'll look, what's kind of cool is it's almost kind of the same writing. So they match really well. So I'm really happy that Stampin' Up! Did that, where they kind of matched them up so that you can really use them and it looks like the same kind of handwriting. For those of you that care about that, I'm not one of those people that's real particular. I'll use different handwriting, but I know a lot of people like it to look the same. Whoops. All right. Okay, so again, I'm going to try to lean over and get this somewhat straight. All right, ta-da, success. I should have probably colored the ribbons ahead of time and had them ready to go if I had been a little bit smarter. I always think that I'm thinking ahead, but then sometimes I don't. All right, so then we're just going to bring this in and stick this. I love all of these. I kind of love that they did a designer series paper that matches so many of our green inks and cardstock. It's really making this so much fun to work with. All right, so the way that I tell whether my ribbon is dry is I'll put it on a piece of paper and rub it. And if I don't see any ink coming off, which I'm not, then I know it's dry. So I'm going to bring in my handy dandy ribbon tire. And we're just gonna tie a ribbon. And again, when it's thick like this, when I do my tie, you'll see me do this in just a second. So when I tie this, I'm actually gonna tie this knot pretty tight because I really do want it to squeeze the center down pretty small. So I'm gonna give it, I mean, I really pull tight on that so that it, see what it does to the front of the ribbon? It pulls it down pretty small. All right, so then I'm gonna pull this off. And then the other thing that I found is this ribbon, again, instead of using a glue dot, I actually used my liquid glue to adhere this to the front. And so you do have to kind of hold it just a bit. And I did put quite a bit of glue. And again, like I said, you don't need to worry too much. Actually, yeah. Because it does dry clear. So, shh. So I apologize. That's my grandson. He's excited about something. So Emmett, honey, I'm doing a video. Bye. He's going home, guys. Okay. So I'm going to put this on here, and I can see I'm going to have to trim the little pieces of the leaves that I put too low. Oh no, I know, I remember what I did to cover those. So what I did to cover that is I actually pulled my ribbon in all the way. Let me show you, I know, as I get this in here. Okay, so let me show you. If you can see on that ribbon, see how I pulled those, the strips that go down, I pulled them all the way together to cover the little pieces that were hanging out. So I'm gonna let that dry, and then I will trim it once it's dried. But I can show you what the finished product looks like because I've already done it. So once that bow is trimmed, that's what it's gonna look like on the front. Yay! So do you love it? Are you guys in love with this suite yet? Isn't that a pretty card? These cards are, I mean, they're just beautiful. And then there's the inside. All right, last card. Now this one does take a little bit. It took a lot of like stamping and cutting. There's a lot more pieces to this one. So let me see if I can get it done quickly because I know I'm going over my hour here. I apologize. I think it was because I was worried that everything was pausing. Okay, so let me just show you the card. So this is the card that we're going to be doing last. Okay, so where we're starting with this is actually this piece here. So I know that this is just beautiful, but I didn't want to use this side. I wanted to use this side. I know. It's like, what am I doing? So, and I kind of showed this to you guys the other day. So I'm going to bring in, I got to think of which, I think I need my subtles. Sorry. I'm bringing in my daubers, so apologize for my arm stretching across. So I keep my daubers in these little cases like this. And so I'm going to bring in my daubers, and we're going to be bringing in different colors here. Oh, I did not need my neutrals. Okay, so we're going to start with the shaded spruce, if I can find it. And so basically what I did is I just came in and I just kind of went around, and I'm just kind of like, you can see I'm not being real particular because I'm going to be coming in with other colors as well because I'm going to be blending. So I just kind of like bopped it all the way around. Okay, and then the next color that I want to come in with is the, I think it was the Pretty Peacock is the one that I used. Let me grab that one. Oops. Okay. Whoops. Almost grabbed the wrong. So then I came in with Pretty Peacock. Same thing, I just kind of loaded it up, and then I'm just going to kind of, again, stamp around and kind of go out on to where the leaves are. And then might want to get a little bit filled in more right there. And then the last color that I came in with was the soft sea foam. And I know I had that sitting here as well. And I had my grandkids today, so that's why they are here. And Tori has been here, is here. She got off work to come pick them up, so that's why you're hearing them. And then now I'm going to fill in all, any place that I don't feel has in the color. I'm actually going to fill in with this soft sea foam. And then I'll bring this closer to you so you can kind of see how it looks when it's done. All right. Okay. So let me bring this in. So that's what it looks like when you get all of the colors in. Can you see that okay? So it just kind of blends all those greens together. And then the last thing I'm going to do, and you have to be really careful with this because this is kind of a shiny finish. And so when you're doing this sentiment on the inside or on this, you do need to be a little bit careful not to smear it, which I kind of did on my first one. And it was mainly because I grabbed it and stuck my finger right in the middle of it. But this will have to set aside to dry a little bit because this backing is a little bit shiny. So I'm going to try to line this up as best I can. And then I'm going to come in with this and I'm going to go straight down. And then I'm going to see it. I don't know if you guys can see it kind of has a shiny. So then I'm going to just set that up here and out of the way so it doesn't get touched while that dries. So, just realize that when you're making cards, some things you are going to have to let dry. So the next thing, obviously, is I'm going to be doing a bow on this one, and this time it's going to be the Pretty Peacock. So now we're going to come back in with our ribbon and the Pretty Peacock Stampin' Blend. And we're going to color it up again and then set it aside to dry. This one will have time to dry because it takes a little bit of time to build this card. So I'm going to just color that in really quick. And I apologize for not doing this ahead of time. This was definitely one of the things that I should have done ahead of time. But I don't think of everything. Go figure. All right, so I'm going to get that side, and then I'm going to turn it and get the other side. And then we'll trim this, and we'll set this off to the side to dry. And I am using the brush tip for this. The brush tip is what you need to use when you're coloring ribbon. But you still want to be fairly gentle so you're not tearing up your brush end. All right. So we'll put that. Pretty Peacock's like one of my favorite colors. I'm going to be sad when it's one of the in colors from last year. I'm going to be sad when that one goes out. So again, I'm just going to set this off to the side and let that dry. All right. Now let's build this puppy. So I'm going to just kind of open this up just so I don't have a lot of ink that I'm working with. And we are going to start building the card. So for this card, what you need is, this is the soft sea foam, and again, 4.5 by 8.5, scored at a quarter, 4 1/4. Here's all my little pieces that I've already pre-cut out, stamped and pre-cut out. You're going to need designer series paper that is 2 by 4 1/4. You're going to need a little piece of white that is 1/2 inch by 4 1/4. And then you're going to need a whisper white that is 4 by 5 1/4. Let's start building this one. Okay, so the first thing that you want to place on this one is the designer series paper down here. And, oh, that's got marks on it. Let's turn it around. All right, sorry, I've got to move some stuff here really quick, so I have a little more workspace. All right, I'm going to try to go quick here, ladies, because I know I'm going a little bit over. Well, if my snail adhesive will work. All right. So I'm just going to lay that down. Stick that there. And then what we're going to do is start building our flowers. This little trim piece is going to be what we cover all of our stems with. So we want to make sure that we have the stems, but not to the we don't want them sticking out below that area. So I'm going to dump all these out, and I'll show you all the little pieces, just because, again, it's amazing what this cuts out. So this is one of the dies. Here's one of the dies. These are the kind of the standalone dies that don't cut out the flowers. Here's one of the dies. And then these three little guys. And then that's one of the dies. They're just little separate three. And then you already saw the one that went around the hoop. That's one of the standalone dies as well. And then I stamped these in Pretty Peacock and cut them out. Pretty, huh? And then I stamped we haven't seen this stamp yet, but there's one of the other leaves. All right, so let's put this together. So obviously it takes a little bit of time when you're having to cut these out, but my suggestion is you just take some of these greens and you just cut a bunch of those like what I did was I like basically all of these different dyes I put on garden green and cut them all out. Then I put it on soft sea foam and cut it out. And then I was just kind of, and so let me show you. So I have a whole little container of the leaves and stuff that I've already cut out that I'll be able to use on other cards. So again, we don't need to worry about getting a ton of glue on here. So I am just trying to get some, some of the pieces kind of towards the bottom. And I'm going to place this where I want it. I'm going to be, well, if it'll stick down, maybe I'll place it where I want it. I'm going to be trimming off these pieces, but I do want to show you, I am going down past this little area, but I am going to trim these off and just as soon as I get everything where I want it. So then I'm going to come in, and again, I don't need this whole piece, so I'm going to cut it off about right there, which seems to be what I've been doing a lot. And then this is what I was talking about. So then you also need to trim, there's a leaf on this side and a leaf on this side that you have to trim off. Oh darn, I forgot to do, I'm sorry, I forgot one huge step. My bad. So we're gonna bring in this ribbon, this trim again. And I was supposed to do this first, but I've only put one piece down, so I think we're good. And so if I remember right, I cut these to be about 5 inches. And then I'm just gonna kind of make a little loop with them. And so what I did, again, this is where I used the glue dots. So I positioned this actually before I had actually stuck this down, but because I've already stuck this down. But I'm going to try to hide it right here behind this stem, that glue dot. And then I'm just going to take this piece and make sure that it sticks down in there. And then makes my little circle. it's not making my circle. So I'm going to pull up this end and make my little circle that sticks up. And then I trimmed off these little edges. Sorry, it works better if you do that ahead of time. Let me try to trim that off. There, it worked. All right, and then what I did when I laid this down, I actually put glue on this particular flower just to help glue that in place. So sorry, forgot that. Okay, and then I'm going to do another one of those loops, kind of in the middle. Again, I'm going to bring a glue dot in, and this one is going to kind of be more in the center. So I'm going to stick that glue dot down, and then I'm going to come in and try to get that edge there. And again, sometimes you might want to use more than one glue dot. It really just depends on how well you feel like it's holding it. So I'm going to bring that in and push that down right there. And then I have a little bit of extra. And that's because I'm not measuring it ahead of time. I'm just snipping and going here so that we can get this card done fairly quick. All right, and then I'm going to bring in this last glue dot right over here. My last little piece of the gold trim. And I kind of want this one to go that way and then come in this way. You can see how it's a lot easier to do this if you don't have the flower already, or the leaf already down. It's a lot easier to stick this in place. I think I have that a little bit high. All right. Okay. So, sorry. Almost forgot that step. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with this leaf and see how it like completely covers that. But I realize that, and that's why it's important to put this down first, because then you can go in and you can trim off all these little edges that are going to show once you put that leaf up there. So this leaf is actually going to be over here, and I'm going to make sure I put glue right there so it holds that in place. And again, I'm going to go ahead and put some glue down here on the bottom and then up here on the top so that it grabs that gold piece. And this needs to go a little bit higher. That piece right there is what's going to hold that. So then I'm going to set that one down. All right. And then I am going to come in with, I believe on this one, I actually cut it. I didn't need the whole piece. So again, I just kind of decided which, I think I want this side. So I'm going to come in and I'm just going to kind of cut that because I realized I didn't need the whole piece. And this one is going to stick up over here. And again, I'm just going to use my Tombow glue there and stick that one right there. And then this one is actually what's going to cover this center piece. So I'm going to put that one in next and make sure I push it up high enough that it actually covers that little glue dot where the gold trim is. And you can angle them. And then I'm going to come in with, I don't think I'm going to actually use this one. I'm going to come in with this one here. And it's going to be, it's going to cover this right here. And I got stickies on my hand. And then I'm actually going to pull a piece out of here because I want a different color. So I had one of these already cut. And I'm going to trim it in half. And I'm going to stick this little guy right here. So I know this is sometimes boring, but at least I'm showing you step by step how to put all of this together so that you don't feel like this is something that you can't do, because this is all so doable. And then I think I'll go ahead and use this color on this side. Do I want that color? No, I think I do want the pretty peacock one on that side. So this one is going to come in and go over here. And so this is just about kind of like flower arranging, which I've never felt like I'm like extremely good at, but this made me feel like maybe I could do this sometime. Okay, so then I'm going to use my 3 little guys here, and I'm going to bring one of these and put it right here just to kind of cover. I'm just kind of filling in gaps with little pieces. And then this one is just going to come in and go right here. And then this garden green one. So do you see how I just kind of cut a bunch of different pieces and had them ready to go? And then this one's going to cover that right there. So I basically just kind of layered all of those on there. And now what I'm going to do, this is where I'm going to come in with my trimmer, my snips, my paper snips. And I'm going to fold these little pieces that I don't want on here up so that I can get a good cut on them and get them out of the way. All right, so I've just kind of trimmed those away. So now what I'm going to do is, of course, all of these little pieces I can use on something else. So just remember that. Again, that's why it's kind of neat when you have a die set like this. You just kind of sit down with all the different colors that match your designer series paper and do a little cutting. All right, so then I came in with this, and in this set is this little like background stamp set, but it's kind of a miniature one. So this is what it looks like. And so then I came in with this, and I came in with the soft sea foam, and I'm just going to stamp across this little 1/2 inch by 4 1/4 inch. Don't forget to use the little stamp sets in each of your sets. I think sometimes we look at the big stamps and we forget about the little baby ones. All right, we're almost there, guys. So again, I'm just going to come in with my liquid glue and position this in such a way that it covers those stems that I have on the bottom. All right, so that's going to sit like that across there. I'm going to come in again with some of my gold trim, and I'm going to be putting, it's kind of like a little bow, but I'm going to put 2 glue dots down just because I'm kind of making a bow, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to come in with my gold trim, and I'm just going to go up, and then I kind of made like a little bow on this side, and so I'm going to grab it there, and then I'm going to have it catch on this other glue dot. Let me bring this closer so you can see what I'm talking about. And then I'm just going to make the other edge of the bow over here and stick that down like that. Okay, and then the ribbon will go over this in just a second when it dries. But now here's the fun part. So this looks absolutely beautiful like this. The problem is it really didn't fit on my card. So I'm like, whatever should I do? So as I started looking at this, I realized, hey, I don't need all of these on here. So I just kind of went along. I know you guys are going to flip out. And I just cut these off, because then I can come in and place them where I want them, or only use part of them. So like these are okay where they are. And I think that one can stay, but these top ones have got to go. Can you believe I did this? Oh, too funny. All right, so those can stay. So then I kind of set it on here, and you can see how it looks good with just those leaves. Now, these leaves do go off the page, but I think it's going to be okay in this instance. I don't think it's going to be a problem. I don't really like that top leaf, so I'm going to go ahead and take that one off. Now, if I wanted to, I could come back in with a couple of these little leaves, and I could stick one like right there, but I think I'm okay with just leaving those two on there like that. All right, and then again, I'm going to use the Tombow glue. One, because it gives me some wiggle room, and two, because I'm adhering this to gold. All right, so then I'm just going to kind of slip this down, try to get it centered. And straight. Try not to touch where the sentiment is. And if you don't like that it doesn't bother me that it covers where it says smile. That's actually okay with me. So then I'm going to just move all these pieces. And am I going to keep them? Yeah, because the other side's gold. And so I might be able to add some leaves later. So let's check our ribbon and see if it's dry. And it is. So we are going to, it was really funny. The way I found out that this didn't dry right away is I colored it, and then I put it on this little thing to tie my ribbon, and I saw the ink coming off on my, on this little ribbon template. And I was like, oh, okay, this needs a little bit more time to dry. So let's tie this ribbon. Again, I'm going to make sure that when it's a thick ribbon that I pull this really tight, just so that it squeezes that down. And we'll pull that off. Maybe. Didn't want to let go on that side. All right. Kind of got that a little uneven. Let's see if I can even that up a little bit. There we go. Okay, again, because of the, I'm going to use Tombow liquid glue right there in the middle. And I am going to stick that down. And it covers the glue dots, so I don't have to worry about pulling those edges in. And then I would just trim these edges to the length that you like. You don't have to do it at the length I like. You can do it at the length that you like. And then while that's kind of sitting and drying a little bit, let's do the inside of the card. We are almost done. Are you guys excited? I am. Okay, so this time for the inside of the card, I used this stamp. So we're going to bring this stamp out, and we're going to bring in the Pretty Peacock ink. You can tell I kind of like this color, huh? I know. It's one of my favorites. And again, I'm going to kind of stamp this twice. So I'm going to kind of stamp it there and then come in and stamp just a little bit right there. So again, I just want to show you distinctive stamp sets are awesome. Oh no, look what I did. Dang it. I got ink on my hand and I put it there. So you know what? When that happens, this was not my intention, but now that I did that, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this all the way up the side of this card so that I can cover up my little faux pas there. So I know you couldn't see it, but and that still looks really cute. Let's see if I can be a little more careful this time and not get touch the white card with the ink that's on my hands. It's probably one thing we all need to be a little more careful of is when we are, I'm going to wipe my hands on that chamois, when we are doing this is to be paying attention. So I'm going to kind of turn this over so I'm using this side. And then we're going to come in with our sentiment. And for this one, I've used the, again, I brought in my peaceful moments. And it says, life is better with a friend like you. And so we're going to bring this one in. And we're going to do this in Memento black ink. And I know I'm going a little fast, but I'm just trying to get this finished up because I've already gone almost 26 minutes over what I normally would like to do on these. And I know you guys, some of you may be ready for bed. I am. I watched my grandkids today. So then I'm just going to bring that in and stamp that right like that. Alrighty. And then obviously, then we're just going to turn that over and add our snail adhesive. Hopefully I'm not getting ink all over this. And bring in my card. And adhere this to the inside of the card. And now we have finished our third card with this suite. Can you guys see the possibilities of this suite? And just, I mean, how beautiful, you know, beautiful cards that you can make. I don't know what I just did there. I may have to go all the way around. Oh, that's glue. Okay. All right. So let's bring in the cards so you can see them. This one is still drying, so I'm going to bring in the original card that I did just so you can see that one. There's this one, and then there's this one. So these are the cards made with this suite. And I'm sure you guys could come up with tons and tons of ideas for this suite. It is an unbelievable suite. I'm going to stick it up there one more time. Real quick, I have 3 things to tell you, and then I'll say goodbye. This is the Forever Greenery Suite. You can buy it as a suite, or you can buy it separately. You can buy the bundle, which is the stamp set and the dies. And then you can buy those embossing folders separately. You can find, and you know, do the designer series paper separately. That gold laser cut specialty paper that I used on all of this separate. The trim, the ribbon, and then the gold hoops. So all of it can be done separately. All right, but the easiest way to buy it if you love everything is just to buy the whole suite. And I know that that's a little bit more pricey. Sorry, I can't get my thing to leave. Oh my gosh, go away. Let's see if it'll, okay, there. Yay! All right, so how much fun was that? These are beautiful cards. I'm gonna show you the cards again because they're prettier than I am. But there's the 3 cards. They're just beautiful and pretty easy to do. But I have a special announcement for you guys. So I am going to do my very first Stampin' Bingo. I'm going to do this in August because I need people to be able to come to my home. If I think that July is going to work, I will do it, but I need to have more than 4 people in my home. So I'm shooting for August. And guys, this is going to be so much fun. So there's going to be a fee for you to come. We're going to be playing bingo. And you will be winning new stamp sets from the new catalog. And because it's August, I will probably already have my pre-order or be able to pre-order some of the sets from the, it's called another mini catalog, but it's what we're used to calling the holiday catalog. And so, yeah, so we are gonna win some fun, you guys are gonna win some fun stuff. And so we're going to play 6 bingo games. We're going to have make and takes in between the games. It really should only last about 2.5 hours to 3 hours, but I will be sending out more information on our group page and on my Facebook page. And the next time I do one of these, I'll have more information. So I hope you guys start getting excited. It's going to be a blast, okay? So anyway, let me switch over to me. So I appreciate you guys being here tonight. I hope you enjoyed the cards. I had so much fun. I really didn't think I was going to like this suite. I'm going to be honest with you, even though green's my thing. But once I started playing with this, I have just gone crazy with this set. So anyway, tomorrow we can order. I'm so excited. So anyway, because you know, I only got to do a few things for the pre-order. So now I have the whole book to play with. So I am so excited, and I hope all of you got catalogs. If any of you that are on here that wanted a catalog, did not get a catalog, please let me know, and I will get one sent out to you. Actually, I have some here at my house, and if you live in town, I can get it to you ASAP. So just another quick, for those of you that plan on placing an order tomorrow, that is the hostess code. Dun, da, da. And so please use that hostess code, especially if you are part of my monthly group. If you are not part of the monthly group and you're going to be ordering something that is over $150, then do not use the hostess code because then you will get the rewards. But if you are in the monthly group, you are required to make a purchase in that group. So you will at least need to use that code one time this month. All right. So make sure you've written that down. And yeah, so happy shopping tomorrow, and I can't wait to see what everybody buys. And I will be talking to you on Saturday with more, even though you guys get to order product, I'm going to be playing with some more of the new products on Saturday. So we will see you at 4 o'clock on Saturday. Everybody have a good night. Thanks.